Hey everybody, this is So Many Sequels. We are kicking off a brand new season, and if you're new to the show, we're kind of like a book club, but with movies instead. This week on the show, we're kicking off Brendan Fraserary with Blast from the Past, a movie in which one Letterboxd user described Brendan as a golden retriever.
Plus, we talk about A Man Called Otto. David and I argue once again.
And that's not all. We've got a brand new season of the Letterboxd game with some interesting changes.
So be sure to find us online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, and enjoy the show. Well, we're back. It's a new year.
Yeah.
A new season of the show.
I've been waiting all week.
All week, huh?
I've been looking forward to it all week.
Season 6, 2023. We're here.
We are.
We're
kicking things off with a bang too. We're fun. It's fun.
We
exciting.
are.
Yeah.
We absolutely are. We'll talk about that. But first, we got to catch up on what have we missed out on? You know, we've been on break since Christmas-ish time. Not a lot's happened movie-wise.
Oh my God! I went and saw A Man Called Otto.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah, starring Tom Hanks.
Yeah. So, have you guys read the book?
No,
Do you know anything about this movie at all?
I heard about the book.
This is Tom Hanks being grumpy and sad.
So I like a grumpy Tom. I'm not gonna lie. I think that this is where we need to see Tom in this stage of his career, is to do something else, right? You know, he's been the hero. He's been the magic man. We need an evil Tom. We need a grumpy Tom. We need an evolution of Tom. And you get this in this movie, and he goes through a full stage. Now, this movie opens up in a way that I was not expecting, and it is dark. And it is, I say it's a touching movie. It's a touching movie, but it has some dark elements throughout the whole thing. And I was really surprised. Honestly, I think it's one of the better Tom Hanks performances that he's done. The movie itself, I think that the experience was really good, but the movie itself is just pretty average as far as as a whole. Tom's performance is fantastic, and I really enjoyed it, but there were some elements that just didn't go along, but it was good. I high praise.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear.
It is good to hear. You know, he was the kind of everything else about this movie and this role took over the conversation, but Tom was pretty grumpy and evil in Elvis this past year too.
It's true. It's true. He was a cartoon.
His part of the story not quite as heartwarming or whatever, however you described it.
That's true.
I can't think of anything big that I've seen recently that I feel like, you know, needs to be talked about. It's kind of a dumping ground for movies. I did see Megan. Really enjoyed Megan.
Oh, yeah.
You can see my little mini review of that on our TikTok page. So Many Sequels Pod. But other than that, no, I've just been kind of enjoying it.
Yeah, I've seen nothing.
You've seen nothing, and you've loved every second of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the 2 weeks, I said basically gave myself 2 weeks off. I really did. So there are some movies that were on my watch list that I really wanted to check off, but I just really have not had the chance. I wanted to check out I think it's called His Pale Blue Eye or something like that.
Boring.
With Christian Bale.
Do it.
Why not? Wait, you know, the funny thing, what I found interesting is that it came out the same day as Glass Onion on Netflix to no promotion. You know, so
that's because it sucks.
Well,
I turned it on. I will say I turned it on in the background because I just needed something, so I wasn't fully paying attention to it. But nothing ever interesting happened for me to look away from my computer. I was 100% focused every moment on my computer, and absolutely nothing interesting happened on the television.
Well, see, now that's where I take issue. You can't be doing other stuff while you're watching a new movie.
I can absolutely.
You can only do other stuff when you're watching an old movie.
It's called multitasking.
Yeah.
That's
called not giving a movie its due. That's what it is.
If a movie's good, it'll get my attention, and I won't pay attention.
No, that's not even remotely true.
I was doing
TikTok is always more interesting than whatever movie you're watching.
I was
it doesn't
doing
matter how interesting it is.
Homework for school. I was doing schoolwork, and I was more
Well,
interested in
that
the
deserves
schoolwork than the movie.
Garrett, why would you start a movie when you have work to do? That's just bad. That you know what? That's stupid.
Because I
That's
want the
stupid.
movie to distract me. I don't want to do the work. I
Garrett,
did the work.
you're
The
just-
movie sucked.
You're just exposing yourself here. Exposing
No, I got
yourself.
the
We're
work
finding
done.
you out in real time. You're a bad student and a bad movie watcher.
Caught in
Hey,
4K.
I got the work done, and it was
Yeah.
a bad movie, so it was a win-win for me.
If my 2K webcam was working, you would be caught in 2K.
You ain't got no 4K down over there.
No, I've reduced.
Whatever you're working with is
I don't know if this camera.
However,
this is not
my
working for me.
counterpoint to David's argument is that makes me a good student. I finished the work, and the movie sucked.
Okay,
Well,
but you don't know if the movie sucked. You were too busy
Yes, it did,
distracted
because I
by
watched it.
advanced marketing 101 or something.
No, it's a
You're
shitty
taking
movie.
Underwater
binary
basketball
10. You're
movie.
taking
It's a shitty movie.
101 intro to binary.
Listen, if you want to watch it and tell me that it's a shitty movie afterwards, I'll take that too. Either way, it's going to
I'll
be a
check
shitty
it out.
movie.
It looks like an acting movie to me, like an actor's
It's
movie. It's
bad.
got Henry
It
Melling
looks like they act bad.
and Christian Bale.
Henry
But no,
Melling, yes.
The
yes.
only thing I've really
Totally
watched
Dawson.
since the 1st of July is I rewatched Looper. I told you guys about this because I didn't like Looper when it first came out, or
Yeah.
like I liked it to a point
Yeah.
in the movie, and then it kind of dumped for me. But I've become such a fan of Ryan Johnson over the last, I don't know, 5-6 years that I was like, I need to give that another chance because maybe in 2012 I was just not ready for whatever, right? And I kind of walked away with the same opinion. It was still kind of like, I want to like it, and I think it's interesting, but the third act just to me just doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
Feels like the main character loses a certain level of agency, and I just can't keep. I don't know. So that's the only thing I've really done. And otherwise, I've been watching Treason on Netflix.
Any good?
Pretty good. It's not too bad.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't watch a lot of TV shows these days.
That's true.
Actively watching nothing.
Well, let's go ahead and dig into the meat and potatoes of this episode because I'm excited about it. I'm excited about this whole month, this season premiere month. I'm sure everyone listening or watching now has seen by the title of the episode that we are doing Brendan Fraserary.
Yes.
This whole month. Brendan Fraserary, the man, the myth, the legend, everybody's favorite actor of the moment. He's having a big comeback, a Brennaissance, as A24 has called it.
Well deserved.
That's up there with Fraserary.
It is. It is a great. It is the Brennaissance Fraserary, I think, is his actual birth name. So basically, for anyone who's not keeping up with him, he's in this new movie, The Whale, indie film from A24 that has gotten a lot of attention, almost solely on Brendan's performance. You can see it in theaters in most cities now, I believe. I think it's had a bit of a wider release. I saw it, and it was extremely tough to watch. He's very, very good in it. And the hype is deserved, I'd say, which is why we're here doing this, right?
Right. That's why we are taking a trip into the past ourselves.
Exactly. We're going back throughout moments of Brendan's career. Today, though, we're starting with one that is, it's hard to say. I don't really know if it's more on the cult favorite side of his movies or not. It kind of feels like it is, but then it also feels like everyone knows about it too. So I don't know. We're talking about Blast from the Past today, which I believe was Garrett's pick.
Yeah.
Right. We're all doing a pick for Brendan Fraserary month up until the last week, where we're gonna have you, the viewers and the audience, help us pick a Brendan Fraser movie. You can find out more about that on our social media channels. So go check those out. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of them. So many sequels. But yeah, Blast from the Past, Garrett's pick. Tell us why you picked this movie.
This movie has always been my favorite Fraser movie, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of out of nowhere. I think it's one of those that just aired on repeat on TBS for a really long time.
It for sure did,
when I was growing up, and I think sometimes it still is there. You could probably find it there on TBS at various moments in time.
Possible.
For me, it showcases a wide range of Fraser. It showcases a really peak Alicia Silverstone for me when she was at the top of her game. And both of those two, I think they work really well together throughout the whole movie. I think it's just a sweet, charming performance from Fraser because one of the things that he has the ability to do is just be charming.
Right.
And he is consistently throughout this thing, like seeing the world for the first time, right? He lives underground for the first 35 years of his life because his parents or his father thinks that they're getting bombed by the Soviet Union during that time frame. So they live in an underground bunker for 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so he comes out and he sees the world for the first time, and he does a really good job of seeing this toxic world that we live in 30 years after the 60s, right? Yeah, there's some commentary there that's a little thick. But he sees the beauty in certain things, and it's fun to see his like childlike wonder while everyone else around him is just kind of a dick in their own way. Conceited, like self-absorbed. You get a whole lot of that, and he is able to bring out the sensitive nature in people throughout this thing. My biggest critique is the ending, where there's just random narration that comes out of nowhere. It just, this movie also feels long. It's almost 2 hours, but not quite. It feels a little longer. This was what, 99, I think, before 2-hour movies were a norm. So I feel like they felt like the movie was running long, and they were like, okay, we got to wrap it up. Alicia Silverstone, here's the narration. Here you go. So overall, it's not. Overall, that part of it is not the best, but I just find this movie so charming and like a sense of childlike wonder way.
Yeah. Okay, great. I'll go ahead and go next. I don't disagree with anything that you've said there. I have a similar love for the movie. Blast from the Past is something that I also remember watching all the time, probably on the same TBS reruns that they were always doing. But what I like about the movie is, when it comes to Brendan Fraser, is it is such an example to me of how he's able to get an audience to like experience his emotions almost. Like, I don't know, there's something about him that when I'm watching him experience a strong emotion, like I feel it too every time, whether it's happiness or confusion or sadness. Like, I felt so sad for him a couple times in this movie, and not a lot of actors pull that out of me. I don't know what it is, because the movie's overall pretty corny, right? It's like one of the, to me, I would use this movie to help define the 90s. Like, it's painfully optimistically 1990s, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is about how Brendan's parents are so convinced that everything above ground is hell. It has to be hell. And he kind of, they believe it after they happen to go up during a storm in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But then
in 1990s LA.
But when Brendan's character meets Alicia Silverstone, she shows him all of like the brightness and the happiness, and they go rollerblading and all this fun 90s stuff. I don't know. And then Dave Foley,
Unsung hero of this movie.
Love Dave Foley.
one of the better Dave Foley performances, I would say. I feel like he would be a great friend. Whatever version of Dave Foley this is, I want to be his friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also laugh at the ending, because it is extremely weird to have Alicia Silverstone's character be a narrator when she's not the main character.
Right.
This just doesn't make sense. Like, it's just bad storytelling. If it had been Brendan, you could excuse it, right? Because at least he's the character.
Yeah.
It's always kind of lazy to end a movie with sudden narration, but it's super weird to have it be a supporting character doing it.
Better or worse than freeze frame, like Brendan, what's the kid? What's his name? Adam. When Adam became a blank and used his millions to spread joy. You know what I mean? Like the title, like the caption comes up
exactly.
Over a freeze frame. What's worse, that or narration?
Those kind of epilogues only work in movies that are based on a historical figure, and like it's just telling you.
Yeah.
So I gotta say this is worse. because there's no
place.
good reason.
There's no
other than-
reason, and
There's
it
no
comes
place for it
so
in
out
Josh's
of
heart.
nowhere. Had at any point in time Alicia Silverstone been telling the story to anyone of how they met,
Yeah.
then that changes the game, and then
Right.
it comes back to it. But no, it just slaps you in the face out of nowhere enough to be like, "What the is this?"
Yeah. So as much as I want to make fun of that, though, I do love the movie and I enjoy it a lot. I didn't even when I went to log it on Letterboxd, I didn't even change my review because I had last reviewed it in 2020, and I just said every time I watch this movie, it's on a whim and it's always the right choice, and it's still true to this day. This is maybe the only time I've ever watched it on purpose, like intentionally. It's always on a whim and it's always the right choice. I never skip it.
Yeah.
God help me if I do see it on TV, because I'll sit there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
David, what do you think now?
I'll be honest, I don't remember much about this movie from my early days. I'd kind of, I think I conflated a lot of it with Encino Man because I kept waiting for his like two friends to show up. I kept waiting for like two buddies to show up in this movie. So I think I conflated a lot of it with Encino Man as a kid. I think it's a testament to like, if you make a movie, when you try to make a movie that's timeless, sometimes that really doesn't work out. But if you make a movie that's very much for the time it is, it gains a timelessness. You know what I mean? Like this movie becomes like, oh, it was so perfect for the 90s. It was such a perfect 90s movie down to the soundtrack. I think if you really look at Brendan Fraser's early part of his career, I might get some distrace for this. Brendan had a type of character that he played, and that was aloof outsider of society, right? Where he was being brought into a world he didn't understand. That was Brendan. And I don't know if that was feeding into his strengths because he just had this sort of childlike charm about him in his performances. But I mean, if you look at this, you look at Encino Man, you look at George of the Jungle or Dudley Do Right, he's always this person coming in from outside of society's norms to, be greeted by, what is this thing I don't know about? Oh my gosh. Right. And he just has this wonder about him. And like you said, Josh, you do feel Brendan's sense of wonder. I completely forgot because I saw this movie. I must have been 12 or 13 or 10 when I saw this movie. I did not remember how long they were in the bomb shelter for. The Fallout shelter.
Right? It's a long time.
It's like
his
the whole first
life.
half of the movie, man.
The whole first half of the movie is completely different.
And I just remember like them being on the surface for longer as a kid. Maybe that was TV. Maybe that was TV editing, or something like that, where, commercials made it not seem like they were in there for that long. But there was, you guys know me pretty well. There is a part of me that extreme isolation sounds like a blast. Like I would just love not seeing anybody for like a good long while.
Sure.
Not a big fan of the hot Dr. Pepper idea. Cold Dr. Pepper is where it's at. I would drink hot Dr. I'd try it, but sounds disgusting.
It does.
To be honest.
Hot Dr. Pepper.
Hot Dr. Pepper, your favorite. No, that's your favorite.
Your favorite.
But honestly, there is a limit to my isolation desires. Not being able to see the sky would drive me up the wall. There would be none of this. 4 or 5 years in, his mom starts drinking. I would be crazy after like 4 hours. I'd be like, I gotta get out. I gotta get out of here.
Right. You want to be left alone. You don't want to be trapped.
No, I just want to be, I often, I don't know if I've told you guys about this before, but often I will, I don't even know what the right word for it is. I'll scroll through Google Maps and I'll find like isolated towns with like less than 100 people in them and just go, man, if it had great Wi-Fi, I would buy a house like right here, like right here where like I'm close to the grocery store and have like great Wi-Fi and I could just like play games and Zoom people all day.
Wow.
Just do it.
Learning something new every day.
There's a great little spot that's on the coast, that's on the border of Finland and Sweden that just looks like amazing. Anyway, so yeah, I relate to the
listing.
I relate to the isolationist in this, but it's a corny, goofy movie. Like it is too long. It does feel like it feels like we all know where it's going, and it for whatever reason delays getting there. Like I think specifically of them going to the dance club, right? And how Nathan Fillion shows up again. Which shout out to young Nathan Fillion.
Yes.
Nathan Fillion shows up again, and it just feels like it's just delaying the inevitable of just let's just get these two together. And yeah, the ending is weird, and it's not just because of the weird narration, it's because it ends on Christopher Walken just like walking out the parameters of his backyard and like a long helicopter shot out, and it's just kind of like, huh, it just kind of ends. It just ends abruptly.
Happily ever after.
That's
I
what I mean. Oh, I'm sorry.
I
Dave,
do
go
love
ahead.
the dynamic between Christopher Walken and his son and his wife. It's very like his wife is like done with this. She's been
Yes,
done with it
Sissy
for years.
Spacek in the movie is
Yes.
underappreciated, I think, because she has like an entire arsenal of running gags in the background. I think that
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
you could notice more of every time.
And you know, um the sort of like create like the paranoia of Christopher Walken's character, how thought out his fallout shelter is, the ridiculousness of the incident of the inciting incident that sends them into the bomb shelter. Like,
Mhm.
you know, I was just sitting there thinking, like, I don't think I kind of feel like any pilot would be like, I have to get this plane over a non-populated area before I just jump out of it. But whatever, you know,
It
is what
depends on if
is.
he was dying. I mean, did you see Geppetto?
I did see
The
Geppetto. Oh wait,
the
what
Guillermo
Geppetto?
del Toro one?
Yeah, that's
I'm sorry,
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio.
I would say Geppetto with Drew Carey.
Not that one.
The Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio, they dropped them bombs on that church.
Was a bomb. That's where it's supposed to go.
No,
But you know,
they were just dropped away in
if you
that
are a member
movie.
of the U.S. Army and you're flying a jet plane, even in 1962, you're like, and you're like your decision is, oh, I'll just abandon the plane over the the middle of Los Angeles. That's a bad move. That's like anyway.
I don't
But anyhow,
disagree, but if he's going down, he's got to get out.
it's a little contrived. That's all I'm saying. They could have come up with something else, but I still like the gags, although I for some reason most of them, you know, like it's not, I don't feel like it's consistently funny for the whole movie. I feel like it works up to a point when he finds the ocean for the first time. That's a really meaningful moment, but then
Mhm.
it kind of just drags out enough. And yes, Dave Foley's great. You know what's crazy? This movie came out after A Bug's Life. Doesn't that feel weird to think about?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of weird. Like in
Makes
your
sense.
head, you think A Bug's Life must have come out way after this movie, but no.
Huh.
That's just another movie with Dave Foley. That's all. That's the only
Right,
reason I point
right.
that out.
Big Dave Foley fact guy.
Yeah, Dave Foley facts.
One of
News
as
radio
I-
was great.
In the elder stages of my life, as I have watched this movie, I have also grown a new appreciation for it because I can no longer watch it without thinking of our good friend and co-host Andrew.
Mm.
Because Andrew, and I've said this to him, so he knows what I'm going to say.
He's heard
Andrew
everything.
is a real life Brendan Fraser who's lived underground for 35 years and experiencing the world for the first time. And it makes me laugh. There's a moment in this movie where both Christopher Walken and Brendan Fraser, and for the audio people, you can't see this, but if you go watch a video, you can see it. There's a part where they both do this like snap and like thing. And that is the thing that Andrew does. And when I saw that movie, after knowing Andrew for however many years that I have known him, I could, all of the dots connected. And I was like, Blast from the Past is a biography of one Mr. Andrew Nichols.
Except
And that is my story, and he is not here to refute it. So fact.
Except instead of going underground in 1962 Los Angeles, he went underground in like 1980 Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Well, and when when he's been confronted with this information, he has never denied it.
He's not denied it.
He's not refuted it, denied it, never. He just laughs. He just laughs.
Andrew also has a childlike, wonder about him in so many ways.
And he knows how to do fancy dancing.
And he's a fan of this movie, and Christopher Walken is his favorite actor. Both of those, I believe, are also facts. So, I'm just saying, there is evidence for my philosophy.
This movie's made for him.
Gosh, I have two different things I want to say about this movie because one, it is like a time travel movie in its own way. It just takes the long way to get there.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of that classic Rip Van Winkle. Let's compare. Let's move forward X amount of years and compare and contrast. He comes up to this world that's more cynical. Comes up to this world where divorce is common. And things like that. and how that clashes with his upbringing, which is a very, even though it was the 60s, a very 50s era upbringing. And I always think that is an interesting analysis to take, but it is kind of like, I don't know, like, do you feel like it's trying to, this movie's trying to tell you in 1999 that we've lost our way? Like, do you think it's trying to say, like, man, the 50s and 60s, that's when we really understood things like being a gentleman, having manners, and that kind of thing?
I don't think the movie's trying to say anything. But I think that's an interesting idea that is presented. But no, I don't think that's the message it sends anyway.
For
I don't
me,
think
the
it's
message is from Brendan's perspective. It's this world might be evil and chaotic to outside people, but there's a beauty in everything, and you can bring out that kind of person in anyone, even if they seem like they can't. And so I think that is the way that I take from it, because it is, no matter what is thrown at him, Brendan continues to soldier on and find the positives and stay on side. And so I think that is more what it is.
He makes it clear, I mean, and it's made clear several times that his perspective is very much about making other people comfortable around him. That's what manners is making, having respect for other people, making other people feel comfortable. And the movie does kind of show how things are different. And it kind of, I think that there is an illustration there too about how, as progress is made, both socially, technologically, whatever you want to say, that there are always going to be little things that are lost along the way. And Eve, and even gosh, what is Dave Foley's character's name? I've forgotten it now, like Matt or something like that. No, Troy.
Troy.
You know, they haven't had the kind of parental upbringing, they both kind of say, that would ever lead them to possess that, you know, manners or trying to make someone around you feel comfortable is something that you would even want to strive for. They're both very dismissive right away of other people. And, you know, as a kid, you're totally on Brendan's side. You like totally like, you're totally on Adam's side, seeing it through his perspective. As a grown adult, I'm kind of like, I do see it from Eve's point of view, when this creepy guy who talks kind of funny is like asking her all these questions and trying to like go get in the car with her. I'm like, yeah, that is really weird. You know, as a kid, you're just like, let him have it, give him a ride. You know, as a little kid, you just kind of like,
he's a nice boy,
believe all that stuff. He's a nice guy. But yeah, you know, he would come across as a little crazy.
Without question.
No, you would. He stands out too much, right? It's not like it was back then when he would have been just one of many people acting and dressed like that. But today, in a 1999 bar, a little weird, a little suspicious.
We definitely need to talk about the soda shop that becomes a bar, that becomes a worse bar, that then becomes a an old beaten down place where they start worshiping these people from the ground.
Yes.
Leave my elevator alone.
I laughed so hard with each escalation of the cult that was being built.
Yeah.
Each time, you know, when Walken first comes up, and then Brendan comes up, and then the mother
she finally gets to go up. And
I am the mother.
Hey, before we move on, I want to call out that shot, because when she goes up in that elevator, she's very red and it's very Carrie-esque. It was a great shot.
Yes.
It was very cool. It was very cool. And you know, by this point, he's built a full-on shrine.
Yes.
To the elevator people.
All these people stand up. I mean, like, because like,
he's got followers now.
It is one of those things that is such a like a classic filmmaking conceit, is that the characters can't see what's not in frame. You know, like we, the audience, we can't see what's not in frame. So neither can the characters. So she turns around and she just sees him, right? And he's like, and then all of a sudden, all these other people stand up and they're like, the mother, you know, like, they just like, and all of a sudden now she's like, oh, it's great. Cause like they must have been there the whole time, but she, you know.
Yes. And when Brendan's character Adam comes up, he's just like giving the advice and saying the nice things he would normally say. And it's misconstrued as him being like the son of the god.
It's so prophetic though. Every
Yes.
you know, like, you know, oh, he's like, can you ever forgive me? And he's like, oh yeah, of course. You know,
Just a really great running gag, and even funnier that at the end the cult leader ends up being like on the staff of
yes.
the new agency they've created.
I do like when he goes into the fallout shelter to meet the parents, and Christopher Walken just goes, "You have something on your forehead," and he's like, "I know." I don't know. It's just because he must,
you know,
you know.
David, you mentioned the dancing scene with Nathan Fillion and
Mhm.
I love that scene. It may not
yeah,
be necessary to the
club.
story, but I will watch Brendan Fraser dance anytime, all of the time, because
Oh
I
yeah.
think, and you know, I think for me, I was watching that, and I think that scene in particular really just sends a message to Eve, and I think that it's kind of fun to just watch her reaction to that, and then from then
Yeah.
on, you know, the scene that plays out from there, whenever he shows up and scares her, and they have that moment of, you know, tenderness with the fixing of the knee and all of that stuff. You know, I
Mhm.
think that it works overall. Plus, again, always watch that man dance.
I know, and it's not even necessarily I have a problem with the scene. It's just trying to sort of, like you said, trying to nail down exactly, because like just in your head, you just kind of, for me anyway, there does just feel like there's a point where you're just kind of like, we know what they're gonna do, but um, so there's that. Maybe it just runs a bit too long, or maybe just the incident with Nathan Fillion is the part that's just kind of like, I don't know if we need to backslide into this, but we do, and it's fine. I mean, that's the whole charm of doing the movie, you know, is getting all the ideas in there. I do really like the scene where the I don't even know what you would call it, social worker comes to pick him up, because it definitely felt like he didn't know. He knew what was going on a little bit, and I do love what is it he says? I say I think he calls somebody and says, I think I'm being chased by a psychiatrist or something like that. And
Yes.
he'd been conditioned to believe psychiatrist was not a good thing.
Yeah.
Which is just a very, again, a very 50s, 60s mentality. Very funny.
Yeah, I agree. Well, any other big parts of Blast from the Past stick out that we want to talk about before we switch gears?
I don't have anything else.
I don't know. What does anything else jump to mind? Where was this in Brendan Fraser's career? How many films in are we at this point? Can anybody look that up?
We're a couple of his bigger films in, not like.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh! Of course, this is gonna take me forever while I'm talking at the same time. No, he's done a good number of movies, but not all of them were big hits. I would say he has already done George of the Jungle. He has already done Encino Man. That's like his second movie ever. Airheads. He's done a lot of his more
Culty.
cult comedy classics that are known now, but that I
Yeah.
don't know were very popular at the time. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's not a newbie, but he's not A-list Brendan Fraser yet.
It was
And
before
I
the
don't know.
mummy.
Yeah.
I think really it was the mummy that really kind of like
It's what
established
shot
as,
him to
as
the
more
side.
than just caveman, because
Yeah.
like as Adam Sandler, there's this great current interview right now where Adam Sandler and Brendan Fraser interview each other, and it's one of those
Yeah.
Variety or Vanity Fair things, and Adam Sandler's like, you know, I saw you, I discovered you, and I said this guy shouldn't just be caveman, he should be other things too, and he goes, and that's why I brought you on, and Brendan's like, really, because the director who, you know, he told me a different story, and he goes, no, he's a liar. I told him he should go hire you, and then I told him the Airheads going to be amazing, and he said, what's Airheads? And I said, you're going to find out, you know, something like that.
I gotta watch this. I
And
gotta watch this
it's
video.
a really funny interview, and Adam he keeps saying Brendan's name wrong. He keeps going, I think it's Fraser, right? Brendan Fraser, or something like that. You know, it's a pretty funny interview. They of course work together on Airheads, and so yeah, I don't know. It is really interesting to see Brendan Fraser get this attention again, with The Whale, and so I'm excited to go through the rest of these movies with you guys.
Yeah, me too. Very excited. I feel like it's been a long time coming that we talk about Brendan, really in general. I feel like everyone feels like that.
Yeah.
Where's this man been? Bring him
I think
back.
this is our second time dedicating a month to a actor, right?
Yes.
We of course did Brad Pitt with our pick of pits. Technically, we did John Wick 2 way back when, but that was the
That's for
character,
a fictional
not
character.
the man. We're
man.
still hanging on to Keanu-ary or something. We'll have to figure that out.
No, there's something better for Keanu, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. We got a lot of Brendan Fraser we're gonna dig into this month, so don't worry, there will be plenty more. But let's talk about how this movie did commercially. You know, when it came out, 1999. I've said a few times on here because I read a book once about it. It's a very popular movie year. It is a pivotal year in film history.
All kinds of things.
And this one's just kind of popped in there.
Yeah, it's sort of stuffed in there a little bit. You know, this is one of those movies that doesn't really I mean, people always say these kind of things. It's one of those movies that doesn't really get greenlit by big studios anymore. It's sort of small budget comedy, mid-budget comedy, budget of just $35 million. So this movie debuted the weekend of February 12th. So we're actually not overly far away from its whatever 23 minus 99 would be. 24-year anniversary, I guess.
Wow.
And it debuted in the number 4 spot with 7.7 million. Number 1 in the box office that week was Message in a Bottle, followed by My Favorite Martian, which I'm pretty sure my 9th birthday was going to see My Favorite Martian with some of my friends.
Is that the one with Christopher Lloyd?
Okay. Wayne Knight.
Yep.
I don't
Jeff
remember
Daniels.
Jeff Daniels. That's yeah. I was trying to remember who the female lead in that was.
It's a bad good movie. Or it's a good bad movie.
It is. Wayne Knight plays the voice of Zoot the
Suit. Yes.
And it's very clear he's doing a Robin Williams-esque like performance. Like someone said, "Can you do it like Robin Williams?" And he was like, "That's really reductive of my work, but I'll do it." And then at number 3, still in the top 5 at this point, was Shakespeare in Love in its 10th week. And then, of course, Blast from the Past at number 4. And at number 5, Saving Private Ryan in its 30th week was still at number 5. So yeah, that was a big week. Let's see if I got the right page here. Blast from the Past would go on to make 26.5 million here in the United States, 13.7 overseas for a worldwide total of 40.2, which would be enough to make back its budget. So, you know, all things good as far as that's concerned. You talked about the year, Josh, of 1999, and it is just chock full of movies that I think probably are big to all three of us. Like this was a pivotal time. For us is that, you know, age range of like 9 to 13. That's really when you like, you know, you're going crazy with movies. Blast from the Past would finish domestically as the number 75 movie of the year. All the way up at number 1 was Star Wars, The Phantom Menace. At number 2, bringing in 430 million. At number 2 was The Sixth Sense, bringing in 293 million. At number 3, you had Toy Story 2. At number 4, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. And at number 5, I mean, it was a hit. And at number 5, The Matrix.
I forget how good those movies were.
I know. I would love
how
to just
bad they are.
Oh, you're speaking out of turn here, Garrett. They're
atrocious.
They're still great. I'll tell you what. That first Austin Powers movie is still
doesn't hold up.
Very good. No, it's still very good. The sequels
doubled
down on the sequels. Unfortunately, doubled down. I think on the
worst
humor
parts
and not so much on the worst parts and not so much on what the first one is, which is actually a very good like parody, satire, whatever you want to call it, of 60s era spy movies. Anyway. So yeah, that's your year for 1999. That's just your top 5. Some other big movies that came out that year were Big Daddy, Tarzan, Brendan Fraser's other movie, The Mummy, Runaway Bride. I just watched that the other night. That movie is like probably 2 hours, but feels 9. This is the year of the Blair Witch Project. So
a lot of good ones.
A lot of good movies in 1999. And that's it. And I'll throw it to the Letterboxd game.
All right.
Before we do, we have housekeeping to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
David has won season 5 of the Letterboxd game.
That's true.
We ran away with the thing. I mean, realistically, he slaughtered us. He
Too
just
many
slaughtered
wins.
us.
Too many wins.
Too many wins.
So many wins.
So
Well,
many wins. You know.
Again, as we evolve, as we grow, we try new things. David, I have
Yes.
mentioned this before, but for the first time in the flesh, I have you a Letterboxd King trophy
It's true.
right here.
The much
You will
deserved.
get it. You will get it. So many sequels. Reigning Letterboxd King, nice and engraved on there. I probably can't really see it that well.
Oh yeah.
But it's very well engraved, very much for you. If you defend, you get to keep. If not, you have to pass on
Yes.
the stars.
I gotta
That's
come over there and
brand
get it. And
new
you know, it's perfect
edition.
for Letterboxd with the stars. That's the star
Yeah.
ranking system they have on there.
And
Exactly.
most movies, let's be real, 3 stars.
Our 3-star movies were correct.
that was the average we found out of the
Yeah.
movies we reviewed last year. It was
Yep.
like 3.1.
Yep.
A little bit of a new wrinkle to this year's Letterboxd game. You get 1 point if you are the closest. You get 2 points if you get it exactly right.
It's gonna change the game, man. It's
Well,
gonna
I'm
I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous.
revolutionize
Big impact.
the whole Letterboxd game.
Yes. This
Okay.
could help a lot.
Well, I've got the popular reviews section of Letterboxd pulled up while we think about what our guess for the score will be. First up, we have 3 stars. I love how throughout the opening, as it goes through the years, you just see Sissy Spacek's character getting more depressed and alcoholic. We have I Miss Himbo Brendan, which I
Mhm.
believe is a male bimbo.
Yeah, it's a himbo.
Himbo.
He's a male bimbo. She's a mimbo, but we've rewritten it for himbo. That was the Seinfeld take, was the bimbo.
And finally, 4 stars. I don't think anyone really appreciates how good we had it when we had Brendan Fraser consistently being a golden retriever as a human.
Yes.
Wonderfully charming movie that had me hooting and hollering.
I don't know about that, but yes, it was wonderfully charming.
So, hearing those reviews, what do we think? Where do we think the Letterboxd community is going to land on Blast from the Past?
Should I go first?
I think as the reigning king, you've earned that right. You can choose.
I think it's easiest to go last because you really know where you can and can't go with it. I'm gonna say it's a 3.2.
Okay.
I'm gonna go higher. I'm gonna go with a 3.7. I know you got a wide range there, Jersh.
Oh no. Oh no. I don't want to go into the 2s. I guess I'm gonna have to split you all down the middle in some way, shape, or form and go with like a 3.4.
Good guess.
3.4.
3.4.
All right. Here we go. We got a, what did you say? A 3.2, David?
3.2.
We got a 3.2, a 3.7, and a 3.4. The winner is going to be, we have a direct hit for the first win of the season. And it is, unfortunately, David.
No.
With a 3.2. Yep.
Oh no, I'm glitching again, right on my
your
victory.
video's glitching.
Yeah, but we can hear that. Looked like a victory dance. That's all it was. It wasn't a glitch. It was a victory.
Wow.
Was it put some music under that?
You literally
go.
came out the gate with a hole in one.
He
Oops,
carried the
I'm-
momentum over to season 6.
3.2 exactly. How do we feel about that, man? That's pretty. I mean, it's good for me, but how
I'm
do we feel
surprised.
about
I thought it would be at least about like around.
It's a little higher for me. I'll go ahead and say my personal rating is, I think, 3.5. But
yeah,
I
no, that's
almost
where
wouldn't
I'm
do
gonna
that.
land as well as a 3.5. I think it's a very fun, very charming movie. Yeah, I don't know if it really elevates above that though.
I'm gonna take your 3-star trophy and raise it 1 and give it a 4-star movie.
Ooh, there you go.
awesome. We have a little ladder step up then. 2 3.5s and a 4. It's a pretty good score that comes in well above the Letterboxd average, I would say.
Mhm.
I almost feel weird giving it a 3.5 only because I decided to give it at least a temporary spot in my Letterboxd top 4.
Oh,
I had so much fun watching it.
Wow.
I couldn't deny it.
That.
I
There's
can't
nothing
deny
wrong with
my
that.
experience.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
So I think I bumped out Midsummer for a little bit. We'll see if it comes back around. But
I'm
that's
sure it
kinda-
will.
I feel
have
like we gotta treat
You
our
have a
Letterboxd
free-floating
top 4. You gotta
Yeah.
treat your top 4 like the old MySpace top 8. It's ever changing.
Nah, not for me.
Sometimes somebody gets bumped out of a spot.
Every now and then I think about changing one here and there for another one here and there, but nothing's changed yet.
Yeah.
I don't see how I can change mine. We should do a thing. We should do a short video.
should do
where
a
we talk
thing.
about
We
our
should
top
do a thing.
fours. But
That sounds fun.
mine's locked, and they're locked for very special reasons. So
Okay. That's fair enough, I think. I don't see a problem with that.
mhm.
All right. Well, that ends our first week of Brendan Fraserary month.
Woo!
We've
Oh, yeah.
got other fun surprises for you this month. Don't worry. We won't only be talking about Brendan Fraser. We've got some other things up our sleeves, so make sure to subscribe to the podcast in your favorite podcasting app or on our YouTube channel so that you get those episodes that are going to be about some other secret things. They won't be secret for long. Really, only one of them in my head is maybe a secret.
Oh yeah.
The others, I think, are okay. Anyway, you'll learn all about that if you follow us on social media. We're on Facebook. You are too. Yeah, I know you don't really look at it, but you're on it. Instagram, you're definitely there. You might not post on it a lot, but I know you're seeing every story. TikTok, you are there, but you say you're not.
You're lurking. You're lurking.
You still think you're too cool for it,
Still not
but
out
you're
there.
watching. So find us on all those.
One of you
Yeah.
two needs to teach me how, because I'll do it. I
Alright,
just don't
well,
know how.
You can also
I ain't got
find
the time
us.
to learn.
You can find us on Be Real. We have not figured out how to properly use that from a podcast promotion standpoint, but you can find us there being real.
Maybe.
We're real all the time.
Yeah, I'm always real. All right. Find us on all those places. Subscribe, like, follow, share, all that good stuff. We'll see you next week with our second entry in Brendan Fraserary. Bye.